Libra, this is your November 2021 soul story. The big question you're going to be asking yourself this month is, what is the true cost of this for me? My name's Romy. Welcome to the channel. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this is a general reading for the month ahead. We're going to give you some key astrological dates and some insights and messages that will break down to give you a bit more of a heads up so you feel empowered to navigate through the next few weeks. So we're into Scorpio season and we're illuminating that second house. We open up your energy with the Seven of Cups. Now, that Mercury retrograde was a bit hardcore in your sign, wasn't it? And what we're really understanding here is that there are some powerful lessons learned as a result of the introspection and the emotional journey that you've been on, not just with Mercury's transit, but also when all of the major outer planets were in retrograde in the last few months. So now that we've got this direct motion, the momentum is picking up, there's an acceleration of change that's happening. There are choices ahead for you. And you really have to, through the course of November, develop a determined and deliberate and purposeful outlook in terms of what the next step is for you. Now, second house is all about our value consciousness. It's known as the house of possessions. So you're going to be asking some deep and meaningful questions about what still holds value or no longer has any meaning for you. And, you know, the reflection of that, I think, is also going to bring up a debate within yourself about what is tangible versus what is intangible. And perhaps you're even going to have to start to set like a completely new definition in your life in terms of what you deem as successful, what that looks like for you. Because, you know, to a certain degree, you may find yourself in some really uncharted territory over the next few weeks, and, you know, may have already gone through some experiences that have brought you to that point. Now, we're going to be welcoming a new moon in the sign of Scorpio on the 4th of the month. It's going to be opposite Uranus at 12 degrees. And there's going to be a breakthrough energy that comes in around that time. And so even if there is some illusion or some uncertainty that Seven of Cups is indicating, you can see how she's pointing very clearly to one specific star. And I do think in and around that new moon time on the 4th, you are going to get some clarity about one specific direction or one way forward. Now, there is an opportunity to make that decision very fruitful and very productive, but you do have some stress that seems to be surrounding you in relation to that particular way forward, Libra. And it may be because you are really asking yourself those questions of, you know, can I do this? Am I capable of it? Or even sort of having to step out of your comfort zone, or, you know, really kind of foster a new kind of courageous, confident outlook in relation to something, and just feeling like it isn't accessible to you. You can't find the alignment of energy. But right now, we're having the opportunity to really start to walk our talk. And, you know, as uncomfortable as that is, there's kind of no choice but for you to continue to push forward. You already have your wings here, you know, there's a graduation that's already happened. The cage door is open. In fact, the scene around her is, you know, completely peaceful and serene. And so this is the perfect place. This is the perfect stepping off point for you. And, you know, sometimes it's difficult because we don't have those tangible, real things that we can hold on to. Sometimes we are moving into territories, or we're, you know, having to trust intuitively. And remember, Scorpio energy is diving really deep, and it's about that transformational rebirth time. So, you know, you are having to kind of access parts of yourself that you maybe do feel a little bit more vulnerable in order to kind of present or to share or to kind of really understand, you know, what's driving the desires and the needs and the wants that you now have. Now, you know, I feel like your tolerance is going to be tested this month, Libra, and that might be on multiple levels: physically, emotionally, spiritually, conversationally. And for you, it's really down to kind of making sure that you be who you say you are, because And that's not for anybody else, don't get me wrong. It's just so that you can feel comfortable that as you start to embody the lessons that you've learned, the things that you've come to know and appreciate and understand, you're actually creating a new ritual of energy exchange that's much more balanced and reciprocal for you. And again, this for me is kind of playing into what this new definition around what success feels like for you. You know, second house is about how we value ourselves, and therefore the abundance that's attached to that. Our money story is very prevalent, you know, when we are moving through that energy. And so, you know, as it pertains to your career, your job, your profession, you know, the business that you have, the household that you run, and what you have that surrounds you and the meaning that you attach, that all of this is under review, all of it's being encouraged to expand and to grow. And so where there have been instances where it's felt like there's not enough, we have to directly attribute it back to the work you've been doing where you felt you are not enough. But there is, like I said, this form of graduation that's taking place here, the lessons learned, and it's been hard won and hard fought and hard gained. So it is a time for you to kind of start to really look at the way you're now moving through the day and the rituals that you're putting in place for yourself, Libra. You know, they're not just a list to be kind of checked off, but they're designed to bring you back home to yourself. And in that energy, you seem to get a breakthrough and the energy starts to flow more directly towards you. Six of Pentacles suggests to me that you're also getting very clear about the investment of energy and where it needs to go. And that's a bigger theme that's playing out in November, our clarity of energy investment. So if you continually show up to things that are not giving you any kind of return, if they are not demonstrating to you the results that you need, you know, if they are not offering something tangible, or even on an intangible level, intuitively you're not feeling aligned to it, this is the month when you're going to make a clear cut and you're going to move in a new direction, or you're going to let something go. So there is a feeling that November kind of has a now or never. You know, if you've given something or someone a period of time in which to change, in which to show you, in which to demonstrate, or even you yourself, if it's like something hasn't worked and you're going to give it one last go, because there's so much momentum coming in and acceleration, there's productivity and fruitfulness that can be harnessed, but you've got to be in that right place at the right time. So I do see you being quite decisive once you've managed to kind of break through what it is that you feel has sort of held you back. And again, like we said, there might be a little bit of confusion or uncertainty or stress around that as you grapple to come to the decision, or you try to resolve something within you. And remember, Scorpio rules 8th house, and in the 8th house energy, it is difficult to resolve things. You know, we are kind of working with much more complex energies. Your 5 of Pentacles, again, is sort of tapping into aspects of scarcity, perhaps looking around you. And again, you know, in this house of possessions and value, you know, if there has been flux or change, or there's about to be change in relation to that, you know, it may be very difficult for you to kind of disassociate from sort of what's changing externally and kind of how that's making you feel about yourself, your own confidence. But at the same time here, this is an opportunity for us to step up even further, and I actually seen you do that. Now, Venus, which of course is the planet ruling our money story, our abundance and our relationships, and the natural ruler of your sign, shifts into Capricorn on the 5th of the month. And we do have the opportunity to get quite serious here. You know, we talk about commitments from a much more invested perspective. The earth energy grounds us into something. We have very high expectations of ourselves and others, but we want things that we know are going to go the distance. So you might set some strong goals for yourself financially in terms of what you're trying to achieve, or what's going on for you in relationships. Now let's have a heads up that Venus is actually shifting retrograde in the sign of Capricorn in December. So you're going to hit the shadow period of it around the 18th of the month. So themes that come up in these two areas of your life are going to be revisited and reviewed, and you may well come up against a few things that need to be ironed out. So just keep that in mind. But we also have Mercury shifting into Scorpio on the 5th of the month. And here we have this layer of transparency. We can see that actually we see right through her skirt here into the fact that the rose has fallen. It hasn't been watered. You know, it hasn't been given enough sustenance. It hasn't been given enough energy investment here. And this is perhaps where you'll get really clear about either where you feel that and people have not invested enough in you, or you yourself have understood that there are areas of your life that have been, not on the receiving end of enough to be able to then start to deliver for you and kind of really help to pre-pave some of the desires and the things that you're looking for. Now we've got another 5 energy coming in here. So there's a set of contrasting situations here, but you know what? I really feel like this is an important moment of the universe kind of giving you the opportunity to sort of look back and say, okay, I have a choice here. I can continue to align with this scarcity consciousness, with this aspect of what hasn't worked out or where I felt the challenge, or, I'm going to look at what it means to kind of absolutely like quantum leap myself into a completely different pathway where I start to open up and my readiness to receive for something more for myself or something new for myself can start to come in. And here's why I think it's really important that you are redefining what success looks like, because actually what you initially perceive may be a disappointment or a setback or something that is not good enough or has not delivered. And that's the same by way of relationships, professionally, personally, whatever area of your life you feel like that narrative is kind of playing out for you. And then what we have is this energy that comes in and you get to redefine, and what you actually start to realize is how much you've gained, the endurance, the wisdom, the understanding that's come, and how it's changed you, how it's molded and shaped the person that you've now become, and that from this place you are coming to terms with new desires that are being born, with new opportunities and new pathways that are opening up. So just like in the 5 of Cups, where we have the 2 flowers that are still here that want to be acknowledged, this is a part of your life. These are the things that are within you, that are still around you, that are saying, here, look at the value that I still hold. And yet you're looking towards things that have lost their value, or perhaps, are now no longer meant to be a part of your pathway, okay? So this is the time where we get to start to redefine things, and that is really important. To the degree that you are able to start to reevaluate this, I feel like you're going to take a much bigger leap towards your purpose and towards a sense of freedom in many aspects of your life. But remember what we said, your tolerance to some degree is going to be tested in that way. Now we have the 1111 portal coming up through the month of November. It's a powerful wake-up time. It's going to give you beautiful new downloads and an activation that's going to allow for really instant manifestation. You want to be in a position where you can really call your power back. I love the King of Swords coming in as we talk about that, because he does have the laser-like focus that's required so that you can really harness the potential of this portal of energy. Now it's going to help you to balance out that divine masculine and feminine energy within you. It's going to, definitely deal for some of you with themes around twin flame relationships, and perhaps things that are unfolding, changes that are happening, and how the energy exchange is being rebalanced in that way. But in order to kind of really harness it, we have to be in a strong, empowered position, because if we're back here, still replaying the story of something or attached to an outcome that, has already it's already been and gone. There's nothing more that we can go back to kind of unpick or to fix it. Yes, we still need to process and integrate. We don't want to bypass that emotional experience. But at the same time, your King of Swords here is kind of pushing and pulling you forward, because there is work to do and there's details that need to be addressed here. Now, it could also be another air sign, a Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini, that might be part of the story through the course of this month. It's going to be important. And, what we want is for you to get to a stage as well where you can start to actually really recognize, where you have been successful, where there are things that you have really demonstrated a profound amount of accomplishment in. Because here's the thing, like the King of Swords is such an authority in his field, it's a trusted advisor. You're going to go to him and you're going to know that he knows what he's talking about. So there is an aspect and an expression of this energy that's coming forth in you. Are you using that? You know, this is about how you value yourself and then how you are taking that out into the world. And of course, you know, when we move into Sagittarius season, it's third house. So it's about your throat chakra, what you have to say about what you know, how you're going to share that self-expression. So I really want you to think about embodying some of the aspects of, you know, the abilities and the experience that, you know, you have to share, and to be able to celebrate that. You know, sometimes we find it difficult to really shine and kind of bask in our own successes, don't we? So, you know, we're afraid for kind of too much limelight on us, or for what people will say, if they'll think that we're saying it's all about us. And, you know, there's so much challenge going on out there, then how dare we sort of be in a position where we can actually really, you know, celebrate and be happy about things that are going on and what we've managed to achieve. But this is from an energetic perspective, a vibrational perspective, so important, because it really plays into that story for you around how you value yourself. And of course, you know, you'll have grown up with a whole set of patterns and experiences and judgments in terms of, you know, how you're supposed to be measured and valued and what that looks like and feels like. And, you know, you're constantly unraveling and unpicking that. And so this is a really powerful month for you to demonstrate to yourself, first and foremost, Libra, of the ways in which you have been changing and how you want to now demonstrate that in how you're showing up for yourself and others. Now, the goddess energies are working really favorably through the course of this month to support things. So we've got Pallas Athena shifting direct in Pisces on the 8th of the month. And here we're getting a new strategy in place, one that we want to devote to, and we know it feels right for us because it's come through on an intuitive level. And that strategy, that new execution of a plan that feels much more aligned with your higher self, is also rooted in this beautiful restorative energy, this emotional renewal that says, I'm going to take care of myself. If I can't take care of me, of my mental health, my, you know, spiritual energy, my emotions, like, you know, my physicality, then I'm no good to anybody. So it's really rooted from this place of confidence and knowing that, you know, your standards, the new standards that you're setting for yourself in all areas of your life, you know, will continue to support and to nourish and sustain you when you really kind of get clear on what it is that you want, why you want it, and what it's going to take from you. And so, you know, when I said at the beginning of the reading, you know, one of the bigger questions that you're going to be asking yourself this month is kind of, what is the true cost of this for me? I suppose, you know, we're going to frame that in the sense of, you know, what is the cost of continuing to do something that you know is not good for you, of continuing to stay bound or tethered to someone or something that is no longer of value? What is the cost of kind of not speaking out or not saying what you feel or not going after the thing that you know you really want, of not being able to celebrate when the good stuff happens? Your Ace of Swords is the clarification that's needed. I love that we have these two aces coming in because it's a burst of new, fresh potential and energy that I think is probably what you need to kind of help lift you up and out of anything that might be going on that's kind of bringing that lower vibrational energy of sadness or loss, or just feeling the setback or the disappointment of some kind of situation. And I know it might be bearing down on, you know, some of you in kind of a pretty intense way right now, but at the same time, you know, this is a month where everything's accelerating and moving so quickly. We want you to get on board, because what you're going to be able to turn around, the events that can change and what can happen like in the blink of an eye, we really want you to be in a place where you're ready to receive it, because this is a big theme that plays out this month. Our readiness to receive is kind of acknowledging, if we are manifesting something externally, what are we doing internally to prepare for that? If we are lost in an energy of grief or sorrow or, you know, that sense of scarcity, then, you know, we're not attuned, we're not aligned to one of abundance and joy and happiness and feeling like the constant flow of that energy. So when it does start to open up and it does start to flow into us, we end up blocking it. or pushing it away because we feel overwhelmed, 8 of Swords. We feel confused, 7 of Cups. We don't feel worthy of it. We feel like incapable of kind of making the decisions or stepping up to be able to meet it because it might require a bigger shift or change in our life. But the Ace of Swords is giving you the truth and the clarity to kind of get really clear on what matters to you. Now we have a lunar full moon eclipse coming in the sign of Taurus on the 19th. It's squaring Jupiter and it's trining with Pluto at 27 degrees. The square with Jupiter, of course, Jupiter amplifies everything that it gazes upon, so that there's a sense of pressure to grow, yeah? But the trine with Pluto says that you want this, it's going to be good for you. So even though you feel uncomfortable in the energy of it, 8 of Swords, there's something deeply clarifying and truth-telling about what's happening and what's about to take place for you. It's rooted in this place of self-love. I'm going to have to go this direction. And Taurus is an energy of permanency. It wants to bring something tangible and real into the world, but it also means that there's a real release because we're talking about a full moon. So something powerful we've got to let go of in order to kind of make a permanent change and ground it in for the better for us. Now, eclipses, of course, can come with sudden changes, with trajectory shifts that are very uncomfortable, that kind of shock us, that are like a body blow at times, and that can really impact on our nervous system. So again, our readiness to receive and to be attuned to, rise higher than some of the more difficult, chaotic energies that are ensuing, mean that you're also more rooted and centered, so that, if your nervous system is getting those kind of constant attacks or body blows, you're not getting so depleted and coming to a point of exhaustion, and again, not being able to then receive the things that are meant for you, that are coming in for you. Now, think back to 2012, 2014, okay, because that's the last time you would have experienced the Taurus-Scorpio eclipse axis. And not to say it's going to be a repeat, but you might well be dealing with similar types of themes, or, notice the way that you're evolving or changes. And of course, you're a completely different person at this point in time, with all of the wherewithal, the wisdom, the life experience that you now bring to bear. So justice is coming through here. Of course, it links into the energy of Libra, and there is this kind of karmic fairness that wants to emerge. I mean, talk about the truth with the King of Swords and the Ace of Swords here. You can't not speak the truth. You can't not be who you say you are. You can't not allow yourself to move in the direction of what your heart is telling you, your mind is telling. All the energies are coalescing to make this be. And what I really feel with this energy of justice is that, in some instances, you can get out of the way of it. Sometimes we have to kind of allow a certain process to unfold, and whether that is happening formally, judicially in some aspects for some of you, or if it is just about almost stepping back and allowing someone to walk their own path of kind of karmic, whatever the implications of their journey, their actions are. What you always need to be just firmly focused on is, where am I at? What's my energy doing? Am I staying true to my deed and word? And, how does that feel for me? What am I channeling? What is my intuition guiding me towards? And that's how you're going to balance out your energy. So I feel like being able to step back and allow some of those processes, spiritually speaking, in terms of the laws of the universe, to kind of take care of some things. And that doesn't mean that you don't fight for what you believe in. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that if you meddle too much in the process of someone else's karmic soul contract, you're going to end up absorbing some of that energy and then getting out of your clear alignment with what you're supposed to be receiving and knowing what the next logical step is for you. So it just kind of blurs the lines and muddies the water, and that 7 of Cups comes in, and you can end up on a much lower frequency than you are meant to be, okay? But there is a sense of absolute crystal clear clarity coming in. Now, as we approach the end of the month in Sagittarius season, again, that 3rd house, it's all throat chakra work for you. We also have a whole series of really positive astrological aspects. They have your back. There is a tailwind energy that's around that time. So conversations are open, they're clear, they're dynamic, they're moving, they're opening up new horizons of possibility. There may be some interesting revelations that come from that eclipse that now feel like a fresh perspective of being able to get moving or get going with something. And, we want you to live your life based on something that you are choosing, that you are creating and cultivating, not, Libra, something that you feel you are enduring and just having to accept and that you feel bound to. So there's something about the energy breakthrough that's coming, and I feel a lot of this kind of balancing out here and kind of pulling yourself up and out of something that feels heavier, is inner work that you need to be doing. Scorpio season is going to take us to those taboo, difficult areas, having those difficult conversations. But Mercury in Scorpio lends a level of transparency that's really going to help you to actually get to the root cause, so that you get really serious about the things that you need to fix, that you need to move past, that you need to let go of. And, there's a fearlessness to that. So I don't kind of see you shying away from anything this month, Libra. I actually see you being able to kind of really power forward. And as a result of that, I think there's going to be a lot of new opportunities on the horizon, a lot of new initiatives that come in that kind of surprise you and feel exciting and enticing to you. Now, this is the new Moonology manifestation deck by Yasmin, and you have the last quarter moon in Virgo. Attend to the details. Well, there's your King of Swords coming in with that absolute critical eye that says, let's not miss a trick. Your Ace of Swords isn't going to let you, just scratch over something. It's like it's got to be acknowledged. This is back to kind of what I was saying as well about a bit of the kind of lessons learned quality of what we went through with that tough Mercury retrograde period through your sign. And of course, Virgo energy is that 12th house release for you. So we need to attend to the details so that we can take care of something to then allow it to kind of be let go. That's really important. 2 cards came out, so I'm just going to take the other one for you as well. Okay, so you've also got last quarter moon in Cancer. Take a breather. Okay, take a breather. I love her expression of energy here. Beautiful release coming in here as well. And of course, Cancer energy wants us to feel our way through. So yeah, it does feel like there's a lot on your plate. There's a lot being asked of you. There's a lot that you're having to deal with and come up against in terms of choices, in terms of new directions, in terms of the conversations that are playing out and where you need to balance things out. But at the same time, I see you feeling quite invigorated by many of the situations and experiences that are going to be coming through for you in this month of November. So this is the Starcodes Astro Oracle. Right, you have Pluto, okay, rebirth energy, of course, natural ruler for Scorpio. We also talked about the fact that the eclipse is going to be trining with Pluto, and that's really important. Let's take that because it means that you're ready for the transformation. You want it. It's working favorably with you. Doesn't necessarily make it any easier. Yeah, it doesn't make it any easier, but it definitely puts you in a strong affirmative place, because you are really focused around this value consciousness to actually allow these new standards that you have set for yourself because of what you have been through, because of what you now know to be true, because of the way that karma is working itself out and clearing itself out and being rebalanced in your world. Then it is giving you that time and space to be able to actually kind of almost in some aspects completely start over. And like we said, really having this interesting new conversation with yourself about the tangible and intangible aspects of your life and what kind of holds meaning for you at this point, what you want to take with you, what's going to be a new part of the next chapter for you. Ascension flame, liberation, a sense of greater purpose, high expectations. Well, there is a liberation that comes when we recognize, what we truly believe about ourselves, when that self-belief allows us to step into our greatness, when we open ourselves to the changes and the growth that's actually taking place, when we move with the energy, not against the energy. And that sense of purpose might be growing powerfully within you. And, you know, even with that, there can sometimes be a sense of sadness and loss because you know you're going to let go of a part of yourself. You know, in Scorpio season, there's always that sort of form of a death, isn't there? A mini death that takes place. And then, like the phoenix, we rise up from the ashes. But this is really powerful. This is about your personal freedom. This is about the opportunity to make a meaningful change in your life, to, you know, have a sense of what your legacy or your purpose wants to be, and also how that plays out in the really important relationships in your life, you know, because when we're looking at Venus in Capricorn, we've also got the goddess Juno in Capricorn. Again, goddess of contracts, marriages, unions, partnerships. You know, the things that you're going to be talking about this month, they are coming from this layer of like, okay, let's get serious now. No more messing about. What's it going to take? What do we have to do? What's going to get us from here to there? How much investment are we in this for? You know, is it something that we really want? Otherwise, you know, this is a long journey. So, you know, let's make sure we're both on board. Libra, this is a general reading for November. I'm just going to go ahead and pull a couple of cards, and I'd like you to just think about a personal question that might not have come up in the main spread, okay? And we'll just put those down here now. I'm going to just go ahead and clarify this main reading for you now. So just starting out with the Seven of Cups. What else do we need to know? Nine of Cups. Oh, another Ace of Swords coming in. There's the focus. Knight of Swords. Got fire energy coming through here. Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. Part of your energy conversation this month. Perhaps a Leo with that sun energy coming in. Look at that turnaround. Five of Pentacles to the Ten of Pentacles. Okay. There's our Tower moment. Don't worry, I think it's shown up in every single reading this month almost, the old blasted beach, but eclipse energies often bring about these Tower energies. Nine of Swords, Ten of Wands, don't worry, we will get to the root of that. Ace of Swords with the Star. Another King of Swords. Okay, Libra, I'm going to leave it there. If you'd like to join me for the extended version of this reading, you can find the link in the description box and the comment section underneath. We'll talk for another 20-25 minutes about the main soul story here, and also do the reveal of your personal question. It's a way to support my channel and also give you deeper insight into the month ahead. Be sure as well to check out your full sun, rising and moon across all the soul stories. It will give you a really comprehensive overview to what's coming up. And thank you so much for showing up. I hope you've enjoyed this, and please continue to check back in and see how this unfolds for you throughout the month. Please do leave me a comment, drop me a like, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to wish you beautiful blessings for the month ahead. You take good care.